just some of the things that are out there in the media and what the media is sharing and how they often sensationalize things because they're in the eyeball business, right? They want to collect as many viewers, have as large as audience as possible because they're selling advertisement just like everybody else out there. And so the more eye-catching those headlines are, the more eyeballs they're going to get, right? And that makes them happy. So somebody give me some real estate headlines they've seen recently. KG, you seen anything out there?
Yeah, I'm thinking just like the
market's going to crash, sure.
Yeah.
Interest rates are rising.
The worst interest rate hikes in 22 years.
That's right. That's right. And those of you online, you can feel free to put something in the chat. If you got any headlines that you want to share. So far in here, we've heard market, recession, crash. These are big words, right? Recession, crash. People never like to hear that. Obviously, the interest rates rising and what's going to happen with that. When's the Fed going to meet next? What are they going to do, right? Where are you seeing some of these headlines? Where do you find them? Where do they pop up? TikTok and Facebook? Jeff saying TikTok and Facebook, right? All right. NPR? All right. Let's see if I can see everybody online here and stretch this out a little bit because I can't quite see everybody who's in there. All right. You believe them?
Someone get really mad.
You get mad at Leandra gets mad at some of the headlines. All right.
Because it's like I'm in the business and this is not what I'm seeing.
It's not what you see. There you go. So Leandra said she's in the business and she's hearing these headlines, but that's not what she's seeing. Anybody else attest to that? Raise your hand if you feel. I got heads nodding. Anybody online? Nestor, Kristen, Tyler, you guys hearing those? You feeling that same way?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll wait to hear from you.
Absolutely.
I also, like me personally, I just think it's interesting, like people ask me about it, and some people are like, oh yeah, the market's crashing, it's gonna crash. Like, you know, people keep saying, oh, it's gonna happen soon. Or then you have the other people that are like, yeah, they've been saying that for years. It's just kind of like they're oblivious to it right now, or it kind of goes over their head because maybe they're not really active in the market, so they read it and they're like, yeah, whatever, I have a house, so it doesn't impact me.
Sure.
Or people that locked in at like the 3.5 interest rates, they're all like, oh, thank goodness that happened, you know. So
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Is for somebody say something online, I'm gonna pick on somebody. Wendy, can you just say something for me? Make sure we're hearing your audio all right coming through.
Yep, I'm good.
Say hello.
Can you hear me?
So I was afraid. Let's try it.
Can you hear me?
Let me do one thing.
I'm unmuted.
Unmuted too.
Oh, there we go. All right, we got you.
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yes. All right. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
We're back at it.
And
Great.
yeah, we have a terrible fear factor out there, and it's constant though. I mean, it's not just today's market. This is
True.
normal. This is normal for our whatever politicians to just keep us in fear.
Well, it drives exactly what they want, audiences, right? If people pay attention, and that's one of the things, one of the emotions that they tug on, right, in order to get people to pay attention. And that's definitely a driver. So thank you for that. What were you saying now?
No, I just encountered a gentleman on over the weekend. He had been a realtor, retired now, and he is looking for a house. Will not use a realtor, which is another story. But he said that he's not buying because the houses are overpriced, inflated. He's waiting until they come down. were in a situation where I couldn't get into it, but it was like, where do you get that information?
Sure.
Like, where does he find that the houses are inflated? We're just seeing prices going up. I mean, not as like they will, but they're not coming down.
Right. So, and in case you didn't hear that, Leandra said, gentleman she talked with said prices are inflated. He's going to wait until they come back down, as if that's something that people are planning on happening, right? But those are some of the things that are churning out there in the media and getting people thinking. So let's share a few other headlines, and then we'll go over that. And then I wanted to ask if we're having these feelings, want to talk about what do we think some of the public is feeling out there. So, all right. This is Goldman Sachs. So this is their forecast for where they think home prices are going to continue on until 2026. They're going way out there, almost 2027. Do they have a crystal ball? No, but they're putting this material out there and they're showing a really slow growth in median prices. They also say in their headline was that real estate is in gridlock right now, that things are frozen and things are going to stall, and that's just where we're at. You take a look at, and I'm going to move this so you guys can all see, this is the amount of homes sold per year in millions for every year since 2005 across the nation. And so this is released by NAR, and you can see those 4 years kind of there during the Great Recession. We were around that 4 million mark. And the reason why I show you this is 2023, we're on pace for 4.3 million. And what NAR is projecting is that we'll see a 15% increase in home sales next year. Well, what does that mean? That means we'll go to about 4.7, 4.8-ish million sales overall. So that's another factor that's out there, and that's coming from NAR. You go and hear from Morgan Stanley, and they're talking about, hey, prices are going to be flat for the rest of the year, and they're one of those that are predicting that prices are going to go down 2% next year, is what they're saying and putting out there in the media.
Dave, can I ask a question? We were at the roughly 4 million in the recession. If they're projecting 4 million next year, roughly, something.
Well, about 4 million this year.
This year and next year, is that because of inventory being low, or because we're not necessarily in a recession, and it looks like they're going to
completely different reasons why the amount of sales. But when you start to look at this data, unless there's somebody there to help talk you through it, or your real estate expert to help talk you through it, they go and say, well, it looks about the same to me, right? Because of one factor looks the same when it's a totally different picture. And you reminded me, and I'll share out the graph because I've been meaning to, for any of those who attended the Buffini mid-year. He talked about statistics about how much equity people actually have in their home and how equity rich we really are right now, which is one of the major differences and why we won't see that Great Recession.
A part of what I wonder is that I've heard other lenders and realtors from other parts of the country talk about them seeing a slowdown. So I think like, okay, we're not seeing that. It's that just what's happening today.
So Kate,
they then pushing on to the rest of the country.
right. So just to repeat, so KG's asking about other parts of the country and talking with people in those other areas, talking about things slowing down, or by slowing down, maybe mean prices decreasing, or are you talking market activity?
No, prices decreasing like 5%.
Sure.
For the first time in, right? And so they meet with the market is slowing down, and they make it a national case, but it's more local.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, KG, because that is true. When you look at different segments of the country, they're experiencing different things. Out west and down south, they're seeing some of those price corrections and drops. Here in the Midwest, we've been holding strong. Here in Grand Rapids, we've been holding very strong, and we'll talk about that. And that's why part of the confusion out there for the public is they see these generalized stories, especially when we start taking massive amounts of data from across the entire country, blend it all together, And then everybody just, okay, is that true across the board? Well, no, not at all. And that's a great reason why we'll want to be the resource for people, and we'll talk about how to do that. So good question, KG.
You can't talk. Whereas like the other cities, they're really expensive and pricing people out. While it's more affordable metropolitan cities, right? And then you have also like more rural areas that's all getting lumped in together, right? So, not
Absolutely.
necessarily an accurate reflection.
Right. So Lindsay was saying too is we also have all sorts of different types of areas, whether it's rural, metro, and those all tend to get lumped together as well without any explanation. Then you still have more news out there. So this is actually from Zillow, and this is taking a look at, and they're the most bullish, and they are in terms of their positivity of what things are happening. You know, we got all this yeah, bullish market. They saying that we're going to be, 6.5% up in values this year, and then they're predicting in these 50 different metro areas that you can see close to 7% increases in values. Well, you'll notice the little Grand Rapids area is a pretty dark green in there, but that's what they're saying. Now, we hear these things, but then we also have to take into account, in February of last year, Zillow said we'd see prices increase 17% this year, and it's only 6%. So, nobody has that crystal ball, but all this material is out there, and it creates a lot of confusion. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I get confused just by seeing it too when we're trying to forecast, but imagine the public who's not in this every single day. So, I have a couple more just for fun. All right, interest rates, because we mentioned that too. Here's a great sampling of interest rate forecasts. And I can tell you these change monthly. And everybody's trying to predict what's going to happen at the end of the year, what's going to happen next year. I can tell you at the beginning, in June, everybody was talking about things being around 5% or 5.4 at the end of the year. Those have all kind of adjusted up with what we're dealing with. But these come out regularly too, and people are paying attention to it. But it's good for you to know as well, so that you're kind of tracking what are people hearing, so that you can continue to educate them on that. But again, it's all across the board. Would love that. All right. So for our public, they're confused. What are some of the questions you get out there? Let's say, are people asking you, is now a good time to buy?
Yeah, and where interest rates going. Yeah. Yeah, how's the market is what you're getting asked? Yeah. Sure, very open-ended. What's your answer when they ask how's the market?
Low inventory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I would encourage you to, anybody else got answers for what when you are asked how's the market?
Yes.
Lindsay answers with a question. She says, which market? Which market are you asking about? I like that, and we'll talk about why a question is a good response. Anybody else there online? I'm going to pick on somebody online.
I always ask them, how do you want me to spin it?
How do you want me to spin it? Yeah, and that's the same thing with statistics too. You can make it tell any story you want. Kelly, what do you say when somebody asks you how's the market?
I tell them that it's as good as any market. It doesn't matter if they need to buy a house, they need to buy a house, and it is what it is. We can't change what's happening today, and just do the best you can. But it's tough. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell them the truth that we're not gonna go out and look at 3 houses and get one. It's gonna take a minute or more than a minute.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's a good answer too. And we're going to build off of that in a second. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Kristen, were you starting to say something as well about how you answer that question?
Oh, I feel like same with Kelly. It's about their lifestyle. They're moving for a reason. So it doesn't matter what the interest rate is if they have to move. So, or if they have to be in a certain school district. So it's a matter of just saying, here's where it is now. We're expecting it to go lower and you may be able to refi. So
Another one, I'm reading Rachel. and I
Speak
are-
up a little bit.
Sorry, Rachel and I are reading a book right now. It's by Jeb Blount. It's called Objections. And another question you can ask when someone asks you a really general question, like how's the market, is what have you heard? Because then you're getting them to maybe talk about what their main objection point may be. And then you can, pivot that or however you're gonna go about doing that. But that was another one. That was in that book. That would be a good one.
Great
Mhm.
suggestion. And I think that kind
I
of
like
builds
that.
off of some of the things that have been mentioned before is diving deeper, like find out why they're asking. And that's, I think, where Lindsay's leading to a little bit. And then, yes, you exactly like Kelly said and Kristen said, you want to be honest with them if they are in the market about doing it. But there is an answer that it is always a good time to buy. And I'll tell you how you can kind of talk through that. And I hear others out there that just say, the market's moving. And then they lead into the next question. Why? Do you know someone who might be looking at the moment? Or is there any specific questions that I could answer? Like continue the conversation. So it's always great, whatever answer you're giving, there's not really a wrong one, but make sure you end it with asking them a question so that you can dive deeper about why is it they're asking. Because they may be at all different stages. They may be just somebody who's kicking the tires. They may be thinking about, like Kristen said, there's something in their lifestyle and they're not quite sure, but they feel like they need to make a change. They have some goals out there, but they feel stuck. So try to just dig and find out a little bit. At the very least, even if they're not interested or that's not the right timing for them, it will help position you in their mind, and the forefront of their mind is that, hey, you were interested in what's going on with them. You're a real estate expert. And then when they're paying attention and hearing other people talk, potentially build some of that referral base. So just always end that with a question and continue the conversation, because chances are they don't know what to believe with the market and they don't know the right questions to ask. So you got to dig a little deeper.
Or they believe it totally.
Oh, they believe it totally, says
From
Leandra.
what they hear and can't persuade them one way.
My favorite is when you see the catchy headline and then what's actually written in the article has absolutely nothing to do with the headline, right? Because then it's like, okay, what they're actually writing isn't necessarily untrue, except for that main headline, right? And if that's all people read, right? Everyone has an attention span these days of what, 5 seconds, 6?
Mm-hmm. And the truth is that marketers and the news and everybody, they spend 80% of their time just developing that headline to try to grab your eyes and bring you in. All right, so just 2 suggestions on, so if somebody does ask, is now a good time to buy? And I thank you everybody for some of your answers. One possible thing that you could answer as well is, yes, it's always a good time to buy for the right property, right? Let's find the right property for you. So, because yes, if it's the right property, it's going to be the right time to buy it, right? So just you're digging deeper. Or is now a good time to sell? It says another great answer is just yes, if it moves you closer to your housing goals, let's have a conversation about them. Or is there any that you want to share? Because those are both very true statements. And like Wendy said and Kelly said, the market always is what it is. And we can't time the market, just like you can't time the stock market. And those that try to time the stock market have always historically failed, right? And the same things with the housing market. So if you have housing goals and housing plans that you want to achieve, the goal for all of us is to get them talking about those so that we can figure out, is there a way we can help them move forward to achieve those goals right now? And that's why I make sure when you're answering those questions, you're getting those questions about, is now a good time to buy or sell, that you're bringing that conversation forward.
Another one that we use and Rachel has talked to the team about is when you have someone that's like on the edge of selling, but they're worried about, oh, then I have to try and find some place, or it's just so expensive, I wanna wait. Another good way to combat that is just by saying, like, what Dave was just talking about, you can't control what time frame the market is, but also you're never gonna be able to sell at the top of the market and buy at the bottom at the same time.
Yeah, the two don't exist, right? Because it's one side or the other, or it's a balanced market. And you're right. Great point.
It's all relative.
That's right. All right. Here's what I want to hear from some of you. So I'll probably call on some more of you. So where are you getting your real estate information? Jay? From me? Good.
From Dave.
Great answer. I love that. It's my favorite answer so far. Let's move on to the next question.
Don't.
Anywhere else?
MLS?
Anywhere else? God, happy. I'll keep on doing it.
Those Buffini, yeah.
The Buffini mid-year and end of the year prediction. Yeah. Those are very helpful. Great.
I have a lender.
The Buffini's podcast.
I have a
Lindsay.
lender that sends out a lot of good information too about just like where they're expecting
What's
rates
his
to
name?
go, and they even send me like a weekly update of what the rates are at. So like I always just know to look for that email, so I don't have to go digging for like 800 different answers to one question, right? So if you guys don't have a lender that's providing that, definitely find one that does. That's really helpful.
Lindsay's got a lender providing material weekly, so that's great. Karen, where do you go for your information?
Well, I love your market reports, Dave, because
Good.
that's what I use for, you know, showing people the market. That's one of the reasons for understanding what's going on in our in the area. But then I also use like Steve Harvey, is it? I'm trying to remember from market. It's like a market overall in the United States.
Okay.
As to what's going on, and he's just diving deeper into what the stats are, you know, and why people are holding back. People that, you know, have interest rates at 2 or 3% probably won't move, you know, if they're a boomer. But if you can understand where the interest rate is and what they're paying, their chances of moving are a little bit greater, is what I heard, you know. But you know, it's just somebody's thoughts on it and the interest rates and what's going on and why some people will move and some won't.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a complete sidebar, but just a little tip, and maybe it'll be helpful for you guys. So did you know that if you would like, you can have Chicago Title or other title companies pull homes for farming, but they can get very specific, and they can pull based off of information on not only how long people have been in their home, the ages of the people in their home. They can pull on mortgage information. So how much equity do they have in that home? And so if you're looking for more targeted farming and looking to expand that, and not just kind of do a shotgun effect of a certain area. And what you can do is take a look at the profiles provided by NAR of the most common sellers and see what you can tweak in terms of that information for the addresses that you're pulling to try to have a more targeted audience. And so, Karen, you just made me think of that with what you were saying about interest rates and all of who might be looking to move at this point in time. So that is a potential tool if you're not leveraging at the moment that you might want to dive into. And if you need that NAR profile, just send me a message afterwards and I have a link to it.
Okay, great.
Anybody else go to anything, any place specific for their market information?
I that I listen to South African business program every day on Friday, but they also have a slot.
Oh,
And so, but it's just the general market.
General market.
I find understanding
So that the stock market or just just like the economy as a whole, which is great too, to take a look at all of that because that does have factors on everything. So good. Rebecca, I'm picking on you. Where do you go for your market information? Calling on people. Nobody's going to show up next time.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. I think also talking to other agents who have listings, and just
Yeah.
seeing like how the offers have come in, if they're still going over, how many offers came in. So even just talking to our fellow agents and just hearing what they have to say.
I
Yeah,
like
good
that
one.
one. And that's fantastic because it gives you a little bit more real-time information. Because even as much as like when we pull statistics from past sales, everything is kind of 30 days old at that point, right? So it's like when we kick out our summary for August and say, hey, 55% of homes still went over list price at about, an average of $6,500 over list, which is down from, the 66% that went over in June, which those are actual stats. You'll see those later. So that's about where we're at. But that's all information from offers that were written in July mostly, right? So what's happening in August? And so talking with your fellow agents is a great way to get kind of a thumb on the pulse of that. Stay a little more current. Julie's asking in the room here, you're wondering if anybody has comments, if they're seeing things in terms of offers going over current listings, things slowing down. Anybody have comments on that, of what they're experiencing out there in the market? Still seeing multiple offers, still seeing prices over, or are we seeing things, less offers and longer time periods on the market?
Depends on the price range.
That also is very true.
They're around the 200 range, but still seeing. Right, wait until just hours before the deadline and suddenly multiple offers come in. I'm still getting the appraisal gaps, the inspection waivers, and still going quite a bit over. But then I'm also starting to see more homes set in the market a little longer. That's fine.
And I know I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and about the amount of people schools open, and then as soon as schools open, and houses just like. And so I think also that I bet you that this week, like, oh, we in this time frame, let's just hold on.
Yeah, so
This weekend, so timing.
KG is talking about the timing of things too. There is always a very seasonal slowdown right before school starts in Labor Day.
Yeah.
And then it does, we do see a little bump back up, a little fall return of the activity after people get settled a little bit.
I'd also be curious to know for the buyer's agents in here, how, like, when you're setting expectations with your clients, like, what exactly are you feeling with your current clients or over the past 3 months? Like, how many houses have you had to show, and how long or how many offers have you written in, like, before getting something accepted?
And again, I'll say, right, because I just had a cash buy at the bottom. We looked at 3 houses, and we wrote on 1. So we looked at 3 houses with the cash buy in Holland, we wrote on 1, and they got it.
Okay.
But I've had buyers who are a little bit more challenged when it takes them long. So it depends on what price range they're looking at and how much firepower.
Anybody else? So KG was just jumping in on the question Lindsay had about buyers and buyer activity. Anybody else have any thoughts on that and what they're dealing with, or how they're setting those expectations?
I guess just to add to my comment too, for my buyers, I have some that are not willing to waive inspections, and that's what we just losing out on. So we've been seeing a lot in the writing as best as we can, but finding out, and I push those other agents when you give me feedback, because I do think that's the most current and most powerful information I can share with my current clients. Like, this is, if it's within that price that you're looking qualified for, then I'd say this is the most up-to-date information feedback I can give you. This is, and I go over the like the 6-page, you know, this is what we'd be writing in for an offer. I want you to talk about this PNB, non-refundable, you know, all like, this is how creative we gotta get. This is what people are writing. This is the competition. Are you going to do any of that? You know, anyway, so yeah. I would
Right.
say those, so it's a struggle with the buyers.
I think that's a great, so Doran and KG brought up great points. It does really very much matter on what your clients are willing to do, and based off of what they're willing to do in that explanation, it may extend or shorten that time frame of how long they'll be looking, right? So it is somewhat conditional.
But I think Lauren's point is a brilliant one, because I've had people who guess it in certain things, and then you get 3 agents, like once you read 3 times, you always ask for feedback, and then you always give that to them. And after about the 3rd one, saying, hey, what are we seeing here as a tech, and what do we need to do? And I've had people do that and said, oh, let's do this.
Kelly, were you about to say something online there?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. I think it really depends on the buyer. If they're super motivated and they have some money to play with, then they can get something quickly. I have some buyers that I've been working with for going on 2 years. They're not motivated. They have a place to live, and
God bless you, Kelly.
Yeah, I wish they'd get a little motivated. You know, and then I had a buyer who was moving here from Chicago. They came in a couple weekends ago, one day, showed them 5 houses. We found one that did not have an offer deadline. And I said, be aggressive and with your offer. And we were, and they got it. And so it just depends on how much money the buyer has, I think, because I also have some very motivated buyers, you know, in the low 200 range. But they can't get anything because the competition's way too fierce. I mean, it's not going to happen. So, and it depends on the buyer, I think, where they're looking in their price point and how deep their pockets are. So,
yeah. Can I mention something too, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had 2 listings in the last couple of weeks, and there was a lot of activity at the open house, but not a lot of offers. So, and this is in the 375 range, right? So I can see that the buyer activity is out there. It's just, you know, what's holding them back from pulling the trigger, you know, or, you know, I'm thankful for a good offer, but the same thing was on the other one. I received 2 offers, but they were at asking price at 300. So, you know, you're looking at those items and you're just kind of going, the buyer activity is out there. You just have to price it right, or you're gonna lose, or it's gonna stay on the market for a while in this fall market. So it's important to kind of feel a pulse of the buyer activity, and it helps you direct your buyers accordingly, because it depends. I agree with Kelly, it depends on the location, and you know, mostly as to how many buyers are looking in a specific location, because there is low inventory in certain areas in Grand Rapids. So you're going to see multiple offers there.
Absolutely.
Just my thoughts.
Absolutely. Yes. And so then a couple tips just on this, and I'll go through some areas where I find my information so that if you guys want to look for that directly. But you mentioned the differences in price range. So there is a great report on Swimrick that you can run that'll give you, it's a price range report, and it'll break everything down by $50,000 increments. It'll tell you how many homes are on the market at that price range and how many days they've been on the market. It'll also tell you how many pending there are in that price range, and it breaks them down by that increment, and how many days those are on the market on average. And then I'll break down all the totals too of those averages. So a useful thing, and what I would recommend for doing that is, you know, pulling it every once in a while is great just to have it so you can show it to somebody. But if you're following it on a regular basis, you start to see those trends. And so then you can start to see what's happening in different price range and where it's headed. There's also on Swimrick and through the Fast Facts application on there, you can pull up things like how many showings until pending for different price ranges, so that you know on average how many showings that home got before it went to pending. And you can break that down to whatever price ranges you want. You can do it just as a general market, but that also might help set some expectations both for your sellers and for your buyers, just of what's going on out there. And you can pull it too to see it over the course of time, so you can track trends over that. So just another great resource that's available to you. If you want to see how to do that, again, just shoot me a message. It's pretty easy, and we'll try to provide it on a regular basis. So here's some. Oh, go ahead.
Narrow that down to those areas, like locations.
Yes. Yes, you most certainly can. So
One that I've liked that you pulled up is showing either just the graphs regarding price reduction, just the trend of those.
Sure.
And then also session. Yeah, I know I that on.
Yeah. No, that's good. I haven't done that in a while, and
Up to date with
right, show and concessions. We will do that. Thank you, Duane. All right. So here's just some things. Keep in mind different that these are what I use essentially. So I mean the Monday message, and you can click and share from that. The weekly market updates that we provide, Swimmerk and the Fast Fact plugin. NAR has a great resources for data as well. If you're looking for mortgage information, the Mortgage Broker Association's website, that even talks about like applications and how many applications have come in and changes and trends on that. Freddie Mac for interest rates, we put that out too as well. Showing Time actually has a great chart. You see us publish it sometime where it tracks the activity. It can be nationwide, and it can be broken down to Michigan. And it shows a chart year over year. They've been doing it since the pandemic of what the buyer activity looks like. And it's really interesting to see if you can spot when the holidays hit in terms of what that chart looks like. Also, great opportunity for if you have people that haven't had, not that I want you all to work on your holidays, but if you plan ahead, maybe take your holiday early, or you might be able to get some of those buyers who are struggling some opportunities because of how things change in terms of activity. Percy AI, you all have access to that through Remax. A great thing if you look up a specific home, and if you go to like the value report on there and scroll all the way down, it'll tell you how many people, how many internet searches across the internet, not just on Swimmerk, for different price ranges, for homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. And that's a really interesting tool just to kind of, again, predict activity in those different areas, in those different markets. Believe it or not, Zillow's economists tend to be pretty good, and they have a ton of information and charts on there. I know we all have our opinions about Zillow and that, but they do have a wealth of information out there. And even Redfin does put out quite a bit of information too, and are big on processing all that information and sharing it in kind of bite-sized bits. So those are just some things to think about, different opportunities. And again, we'll continue to share a lot, and we'll give some more recommendations on what to do with these materials as well. Just want to get that out there. All right. Now, oh yeah, questions?
Question, what's that one that's a nationally published, like, is it Consumer Trends or what is buyer seller, 2023 trends, or I mean, they probably release it at the end of the year for 23, but what's the name of that one again?
So NAR puts that out. They put out a profile of buyers and sellers every single year. I can send that to you from the previous one. I have some links for that. And actually, if you
have anything more local, I was kind of curious, like in towards Michigan, if not our market, you know what I mean?
Right. Not that I have discovered, but
Okay.
that would be great if we had one of those.
Just like, the whole remodel costs, like when you see those, $45,000, $50,000 averages for like a kitchen remodel. It's like, is that really?
That we do have. That we
Is it?
have, and I can share with
Okay.
you. Typically, we publish that in kind of the January timeframe. But there's also a great website. You'll have to sit through some ads and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
cost value website, and they publish those every year. And we combine, and that's very specific to our area. They can dial down to lots of different areas. But what we kind of do with the one that we publish in January was we take and combine that information and then some information from other sources in order to make our cost and renovation estimate and percent return on that investment as well, and publish that. Great item of value for clients, by the way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, thanks. Is that so costvalue.com or something like that?
Yeah, I'll get the exact website, but it's cost versus value or something like that. And they put that report out annually, as do we. Great question.
Thanks.
All right, more participation, and you guys online can participate too by just raising your hand. So, question for you. So, please raise your hand if you share market information with your sphere in some way once a week. Okay, do you do it at least once every 2 weeks? Raise your hand. Okay, I got a couple hands up. Keep your hands up. Do you share it at least once a month? Okay, I got a few more in the room, a few more online. Once a quarter. Let's try to get everybody here. Once a quarter. And
not to your whole database, are you saying, or just kind of your, active?
Whether you post something online, whether you send out a postcard, just that you are speaking real estate information out there into your group. You got postcard quarterly.
Davey, I'm driving, but yeah, I do postcards 3 a month, and I do a update once a month, and then I do a quarterly newsletter.
Love it. Good. Fantastic. That's great. Thank you. Good. Well, we got everybody, but I think what I wanted to show you there, do we think there's room for sharing more? I got heads nodding. So what our goal is obviously we want to be the go-to experts for everybody in our sphere, right? Even people outside of our sphere too. We'd love to be that go-to expert. Because like we just discussed, and I know it took a long time to get here, but we went through all of those things about the media and out there, the confusion out there, how specific things can be in our market and for different buyers and for different people. So when they're just seeing these very generalized headlines, it's really confusing. And if we're not being proactive on making sure that we are sharing material to our sphere, they're going to be seeing those things. And you know what? We might have people that are sitting on the sidelines just because they're confused, they feel stuck, and they may be somebody in our sphere already, but we haven't been communicating to them about anything within the market for a while. So all they're hearing is the headlines. And so they just assume that, hey, I can't reach my goals, even though I have them, because of this situation or because of whatever the market situation. And that very well may be false or not true, right? So our recommendations, and I'll go through these. All right, so I asked that question already. Here's some options for you. Really simple and easy, and I think you'll see it will make a big difference. And I'll talk about some of the benefits of why, and then we'll wrap up. Thanks to everybody for hanging with. Hopefully you found at least the first 45 minutes some useful tips and tricks in there and information. But one Monday message. If you're not opening it, make sure you open it. In there, every single Monday, you will see an update of what happened the last week in the market. Simply hold your finger on your phone, over the phone on that button. You can download it and upload it to your social media. Boom, it's done. Just tag it. Here's what happened last week in the real estate market. If you have real estate goals that you want to achieve, I'm here to answer any questions. It can be just that simple. Just put that material out there. Do it on Mondays, do it on Tuesdays, whatever you want to do. Just pick that day of the week. Also in there is your interest rates. We pull those from Freddie Mac they come out every single Thursday. You can pull them from Freddie Mac every single Thursday and just post it online if you want. You can even select the time frame of how long, if you want to show the history of it, if you just want to show the last week, whatever it may be. Go ahead and put that material out there. It's a free post. Yes, it's not always the most exciting information or the greatest news. They usually put a little tagline or a little paragraph right above it about what's going on or what's expected or what happened over the last few weeks. You can borrow that right from there. We share that too. So, and again, you can share it right from your Monday message as well. Weekly market update. And so there's two things. You can share materials twice a week doing that. The weekly market update, there is always some sort of other download or chart. Again, pull it up on your computer or your phone, hover over it, just upload it right then and there. Don't overthink it. And even if you want to, go to ChatGPT and type in, give me the best hashtags for such and such post or for real estate social media posts. And it'll tell how many you want. Because if you don't tell how many you want, it'll just keep going. But tell how many you want, and then you can use those if you always have trouble thinking of what do I hashtag in there. Or if you don't like your tagline or title for it, throw it in ChatGPT and say, please rewrite this, but make it more exciting, make it catchier, make it blank, make it shorter, rewrite it in 6 words. It'll give you a whole bunch of options. I won't even go to that level. I would just get something out there and make sure you're posting it. Quarterly market summary. Now, so there's a lot of weekly things that you can do on that. I'll give you even another idea, and I've been seeing this in, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really interested to try it. The media actually did this one, and so I gotta compliment them for coming up with this. And I've seen it on MLive, and I think they're doing it monthly. And the tagline or the headline is just 5 most expensive homes sold in Kent County, or 5 most expensive homes sold in Grand Rapids. And it's just for the last month. And then it's just a link for you. Yeah, you can go to your website and find that listing, that sold listing on your website, and grab that link. So it drives them back to your website just for some more traffic. But everybody loves to look at expensive or unique homes. And so try that one, see how it goes. Seems to be working for MLive. Quarterly market summary. Here's what I recommend on this. We put out those materials. Again, share it online. But what we'll be doing in the future is we will put it and shrink it down to postcard format so that you can take it and have it at that level. And one of the requests was to have it customized. So this will allow you to customize it if you just simply send it to, make this go away. There we go. If you work with Chicago Title and say, here's the front that I want, you can just send that to it. And it simply says at the bottom, we're passionate about being your real estate market expert. And then on the back, they will upload your photo. They will upload a QR code that can take to a home valuation site that would be custom to you. All of it would be customized to you on the back. The front information would just be all of those different school districts broken down. And that gives you a free, oh my goodness, it must be the top of the hour because I'm getting, I will remember to turn off my updates next time. But I have an open work block coming up if anybody needs anything from me. No, there we go. Okay, I think I didn't screw anything up. So that would be a great thing. And then if you pair that with what we talked about earlier, maybe you go to Chicago Title and you say, hey, I want you to pull these demographics of addresses, and you start farming some of those that are more specific to people that might be moving. Or at the very least, if you have the first app, run your first app, download all of that information. It will go out there and find addresses for all of your contacts, but also then you can start to pick your 3-star people and make sure they're getting your quarterly market summary, both physically, but then you're sending it to them via email as well. You're posting it on your social media. All those things will be great. The last suggestion, and I'm just running through these really quick because I want to get to you. I do have a quick bonus material for you too that I'll share just with you guys. It's not, we haven't released it to anybody yet, but for attending, we'll give it to you. But before that, if you want to drive more referrals specifically right now, I recommend leveraging this dialogue and giving your past clients a call. So take a look at your list for past sales. Anybody who's still in the same home, you know, you can go back as far as you want. But it works really well for just the last couple of years too, because of what the media is saying about prices dropping and all those sorts of things. You have all that information if you need help pulling it from either your dot loop or from Swimwick, but call them. And this is the don't believe what the media is saying about home value script. Very, very catchy, right? But so much of those people who just bought even last year, they're wondering, okay, where am I at? Did I make a right decision? And this whole script is based around calling them and saying, you know, actually, you know, there's been a lot of media headlines out there about home values dropping. Well, I wanted to call and reassure you that you made a great investment in your home and values are up blank in your area over just the last year. If they've been there for multiple years, you can then add in, you know, and more than blank percentage since you bought in 2018. So for example, 63% in value increase since 2018. But that's incredible if you just generalize those numbers. And so we can pull even further back if you'd like that. If you want to go even deeper, you can start dialing into, okay, that means your value of your home has increased by X amount since you bought years ago. This is a great way to just touch base, reassure them. And then there's the way to wrap up after, you know, you're going to have this is going to generate some additional other small talk, but a great way to wrap up around just leaving them with a thought. Well, if you know of anybody else, or if there's anybody else who would like to make a great investment, just like you did, I'd love to be their guide through that real estate, you know, transaction or whatever it might be. So it helps you talk through that. But if you just go through, find those past 50 clients, however many numbers you want to do, make these phone calls, pick 12 a week, whatever, you'll get 50 done in a month. Great way to win that top of mind battle. Great way to reassure people about what's going on in the market. And even in this dialogue too, it talks about, hey, I would love to be your go-to real estate expert for any questions or referrals that you have about the real estate market. Really easy and obtrusive way. And who doesn't want to hear that their home value went up or their equity increased by $100,000, right?
It's a great purchase anniversary as well.
Oh, wonderful. Great idea. Leandra mentioned it'd be a great purchase anniversary call too. So if you come across those dates, to give them that call and let them know. Anybody like that? Is that a good one? You're going to try that out? Who's going to try that out? We got, okay. Got 2 people, 3 people, 4. All right, they're growing. It's growing. All right. But I promise you, you make those calls, that'll get you top of mind with people. That's going to drive more referrals in the short term coming through for you.
Well, I have always encouraged agents to put their purchase anniversary to do a CMA.
Yeah, it's great.
And send to, not so much in the first CMA, but like moving forward, and that has generated enough.
Absolutely. CMAs are perfect. A great tool to do on an anniversary. Mark those in your calendar so that you know when those things are going to pop up. Give yourself a little bit of a warning. You know, it'll do that for you so that you're ahead of time. And even if it's just kicking out the information from your Percy AI home value site so that you get that and it's a touch point. The point is more touches. Don't worry about perfecting the information. Worry about upping the amount of touch points. All right, real quick. And thank you for hanging on, everybody. Hopefully you found some good value on this, but I appreciate you attending. These are some things that we're working on that have not been released yet, but want to give you the option to jump in on it. So it's not perfect yet. It's not complete. You're going to see some things that are still work in progress, but it's going to give you early access to it so that you can see if this works for your business. And I'm asking in return is a little bit of feedback on it so we can continue to grow it, develop it, make it better, and make it more applicable for you, something that you think you'll use and take advantage of moving forward. And I'm going to put a link in the chat, and I'll share it with, and I forget what order my slides go in, so I'm going to completely, so we're just going to jump ahead, and we'll go back to this. Like that. All right, so this program, and you can get the QR code here. I'll move it down, and then I'm going to grab a link out of the chat. So this whole program is around driving 100 referrals in 1 year, and it's a month by month. And what we do is say, here's what to do in September, here's October, November, and so on. So what we're going to share with you is November. So things that you're going to see in here is reasons to call and connect with your sphere and dialogue specifically for that, 4 different ones that will be great. Emails, what are you going to send out for your email? Access to an email template if you're using MailChimp so that it's ready for you and it's all set and to go. Mailers, here's 5 options for mailers and reasons to get good information out in front of people. What can you do? People are always asking us, what should I be sending out? Here's 5 options just for September. Some may work in October too. Events, here's good fall events. It could work in September, October, and so on. Here's 4 events that you're gonna have. Sorry, I'm talking to the computer like you guys aren't in the room, I apologize. And some standard operating procedures for those events. What do I do? How do I set that up? What's the easiest one? What's the most difficult one? How do I send out invites? All of those things. When do I send out invites? How do I remind people? All of those things. And so we're fleshing all of that out. Again, not all of it's in there yet, but it gets you an idea of what's coming so that you can make it super easy to have those contact points. Then for social, there is a great framework for each week about what you should be posting on your social in order to, again, drive that engagement. So grab this QR code here or in the chat. I'm going to grab the, let me escape out of this really quick. And I'm going to grab you a link and put it in the chat so that you guys can see this document as well. And again, all I ask is if you start diving into this, taking a look at it, give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. If you try something, let us know that too, so that we can continue to provide good information. I'm also going to put in the chat just so you have it. So that dialogue, if you want it, is in this second link here. So that media dialogue, that just went out to oh, I think I just sent it to Karen only, sorry. Everyone in meeting for both of those. So here is the that first one there that says top 500. That is a link to our document that we released recently, that we got information back from top 500 agents out there, and that dialogue about the media is in there, and all the data about how much values have increased. So you can grab it right from there, as well as a lot of other things. There's also the profile for NAR, from NAR for buyers and sellers, links in there for that. And then let me copy this link. And then 100 for referrals in a year, that'll take you to the September document. Still not complete, work in progress, but a lot of the materials are there, and you'll get a great idea of where it's headed. So I encourage you to jump in on that. I'm going to go back to this really quick and put in a shameless plug for one other thing that we have coming up. And if you guys need to drop off, feel free. But I do want to just go through this and just so you guys know what's coming up. And it's not the fall sales conference, although I'd love for you all to attend the fall sales conference. Okay. Okay. Raise your hand if you want 5 more weeks off during your year. 5 more weeks. Oh yeah, the hands are shooting up left and right. No, the rest of you, you're just evidently just workaholics. Who wants to have 5 more weeks? 5 weeks, there you go. 5 weeks off and still convert more leads. Good. If you're not raising your hands, I think your arm's broken. Your arms are, the people's shoulders aren't working. All right. Then the final thing too, and this feels kind of weird at the end. I don't know why I put this in it, but anybody ever feel drained after like managing your client's emotions or expectations? Nobody? No, nobody's hands went up for that. Nobody. Okay. No, actually, a lot of hands went up for that, and so that is a very real thing, and especially for all of you who care so much about your clients, that happens a lot. We kind of take on a lot of that emotion and stress, right? So I'm putting in a shameless plug for upcoming webinar. So here's what we're going to do. So this is, and I got to clear that out of there. I need 2 screens. So ETC is emotional transformation communication. What this is going to do is not only help you with those conversations, it's going to build trust faster. It's going to allow what you need first and foremost in order for folks to allow you to guide them to their goals. It's also going to increase your conversion rates because it's going to help people feel understood faster. And it's also going to help them show how you've helped similar people who have felt the same way find a good experience and a positive feeling at the end. And so this ups your conversion rates. And now the 5-week tidbit there, if just say, here's the math on it. It's really simple. So say if your conversion rate is 20%. So you need 100 opportunities in order to get 20 deals for the year, right? So if that's 50 weeks out of the year that you're working, you need 2 opportunities a week, right? So if you want to only work 45 weeks, you got to be increasing your conversion, or you got to increase your conversion rate to just 22%, just 10% more. So 90 opportunities is what it'll take to get 20 deals at the end of the year. You can take those other 5 weeks off and not have to worry about it. So think of it if you just increase it 20% and 25% conversion rate, or if you can get up to a 30% conversion rate, you'll need less opportunities in order to do the same amount of business. And so ETC is going to help you with all those things, manage those emotions, help those clients feel trusted so that they'll listen to your guidance moving forward, make those conversations easier. And we're going to take a look at real life examples all the way through the process from lead generation to post-closing, how to drive more leads, convert more, but then also when situations arise throughout the transaction, how you can apply ETC to make that easier on you and easier on your clients. So that'll be next week, Thursday at 7. It's via Zoom. It's just a webinar, so you can just jump on. I'm going to move this. If you guys want to register for it, I can put a link in the chat as well, and hope to see you there. That is all I have. Thank you for sticking around for 5 minutes late. I apologize, but hopefully you found some value in that. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will get this link in the chat right now for all of you if you give me just 1 second to exit